Okay. Thank you everyone for joining tonight. Just as a reminder, this meeting is being recorded. Uh, you know, it's Stanford. I know Ali's not on yet, but let's go ahead and just call the meeting to order 6:01. I want to try to get through some of these items. So 6:01. I'll try to run the meeting and take some notes as we go, and then I'll talk to Ali about how to get the minutes out for next month. But
You send the recording to her that evening,
oh,
so
okay,
she'll have it.
Okay, can you quickly show the minutes from December's meeting, and then we'll just see if there's any comments. December seems so long ago already.
So once again, the minutes are on the Noelani PTA website. If you go to the top, meeting info, you can see Lisa has posted the minutes up there. And we can always make changes if you find anything.
Why can't I hear anything?
Oh, Craig, I don't think we're talking right now. You're okay. Okay, do I ask for a motion to approve, or no need? Just if there's no comments, we can just go ahead. Robert's rules, we approve, right? Okay, and anybody have any comments to the minutes from December's meeting? Okay, hearing none, let's move to approve that. And let's move on to principal's report.
Alrighty.
Okay.
Apologize for the casual nature, but I'm at my son's baseball training, so I may have to step out rather quickly after to pick him up. So first thing is probably on front of mind for everyone are the COVID cases. We've had a bunch of cases this week. So far, 11 students, 1 adult, a mixture of some are vaccinated, some are not, coming from all kind of different situations. Just kind of a reflection of the community, right? I mean, I think we were talking about before everybody came on, like before this Omicron, you know, you might have not known anybody personally who might have had COVID, but now it seems like, you know, tons of people who've had COVID. You know, so, you know, we continue to march on as the department remains open for business. So we're just reminding everyone to, you know, if they can speak to their kids about, you know, all the things that help to protect us as much as possible. One of the big ones is masking. And I've taken to now double masking, and we're kind of, some of the kids who have their masks that always slip down, I've asked the teachers to offer them another mask. So it's kind of like, you know, when you got a big pair of jeans and you put on another pair of pants underneath to kind of make it a little bit more snug. So hopefully that'll help. But continuing to do the spacing, hand washing, all those kind of good stuff. And hopefully we'll get through this this phase. I'm guessing, I'm not a doctor or anything like that, but I'm thinking this is probably the New Year's Eve kind of fallout. There's about about now. For a lot of the cases, they were over this past weekend, going into this week. We got a 3-day weekend coming up. I don't think we should be fearful of these kinds of times, but we just need to be more conscious of, how we get together with people and whatnot. And then, I was kind of chuckling because Super Bowl is February 13th. That's going to be another like one of those tests for us as we go forward. But yeah, we're asking. I sent out an email over the weekend that if people find out if they're positive for COVID, to send information to me because I'm the reporter for the school to the Department of Health. There was kind of a bunch of questions about when did symptoms start, are they vaccinated, all that kind of stuff, because that's all the stuff I got to report. And then we've been telling people if you need a test, one of the places that we found is alohaclear.com. And you can just make one account for your entire family. And then that's where you can go to the Blaisdell or the Shell, or there's a bunch of different locations. It's all by zip code. And if you're willing to drive, you can kind of get one the same day. Because I've driven out to Waipahu before. And, besides the drive, which is down and back like, 30, 45 minutes, it's super fast once you get there. So I would encourage people to kind of expand outside of Honolulu if you really need a test. And those results typically come back pretty fast. And then they don't care if you have like a 1 o'clock appointment and go right when they open, say like at 8, as long as you have an appointment. And the earlier you go, then the faster you'll get your results. So I've gone right when they've opened before, and I've gotten my results in the early evening. So that's pretty good. And those are PCR tests. Any questions so far on anything? Okay, so to continue, we have to reschedule our testing because we just kind of got hit with a bunch of COVID cases this seems like a long time ago, but that was only yesterday, Wednesday. So we're gonna roll it out tomorrow. We got about 70-ish students signed up. It's fairly easy. I'm gonna guess that this first time is gonna probably take the longest because we're gonna have to coach some of them through what they got to do because they got to do it on their own. But I think once they get it, it should be run pretty quickly, and we'll try to do that on a weekly basis. So there's regular surveillance testing for our kids. So it's all free. I just got to go on this website and I order the tests, and it comes in. They give us boxes. We get all the samples. We put it in this bag and send it off UPS, and then hopefully we'll get the results. For this one, they're still making us go to the mainland, so it's taking an extra day. So hopefully by like Tuesday, we'll get our results back, and then individual families will get those notifications of the results. And so you still can sign up. It's just that color.com email that I sent out. And then for people who want to opt out, if they sign up and they're like, oh, I don't want my kid to be tested anymore, just call us or email and we'll just cross them off the list. If a kid refuses, like that day, they're kind of being cranky and they're like, no, I don't want to do it. We're not going to force anybody because this is all voluntary, and we're not going to fight with somebody and be like, I'm going to call your mom and they're going to come down and make you do it. We're just not going to do it. So it'll be in the Idea Center. We'll start it in the morning. Hopefully we can get it done. Hopefully by recess, but definitely hopefully before lunch. We can kind of run through it. So we had kind of have a model that we used for when we did the vaccinations. We're just going to follow that model, but it should be quicker because there's no 15-minute wait time like we had for last time.
Do we have a question from Belinda?
Yes, I'm wondering if you're anticipating any distance learning based on the current, the trend of cases.
There's the hard part about that, yeah, is so when kids become close contact, if anybody's positive, you're definitely out. right? But it's kind of fast now because it's 5 days. And like a weekend like this, where it's a 3-day weekend, you really are not missing a whole lot of school. So the opportunities to kind of go to distance learning are have kind of like shrunken, right? So if you're a close contact and the student is fully vaccinated, they can remain in school as long as they're asymptomatic. They have no symptoms. And so they have that right also. So it's kind of hard to go to distance learning when that's kind of what the rule is that we're following. So to answer your question, I don't anticipate us going to distance learning unless something catastrophic happens. Are there any other questions? And then just so you guys know, if we are to shut down like even like an entire class for more than a day, all of that has to go through the superintendent's office for approval. So I cannot just say we're going on distance learning because it was kind of wild west last year, and every kind of district was kind of doing whatever they wanted, and I don't think that's what the higher ups, the inconsistency kind of puts us, like how come Windward is doing this and Honolulu is doing that kind of thing. So everything runs through the superintendent's office now.
Hi, I asked in an email yesterday about transmission within the school. I know you said there's no definitive transmission. Are there like clusters and classrooms that are happening? Can you talk a little bit more about possible transmission in the school?
So I'm not I kind of joke that I'm a kind of a contact tracer, but I'm not for certain. So what we do is we take every case. If there are multiple students in a class, we're taking a look at all the spacing, the mask wearing, we're interviewing the teachers and everybody else. Could be A+, and what they've observed of the students. And so there are classes that might have a couple of kids who have been positive, but at this point, I cannot say for certain if there's any kind of like direct link for anything within school. Because some classes have 0, and then other classes have, more than 1. And so I can't say for certain if there's any of that happening, but I can say that
Okay.
there's cases around.
Understood. Is there a grade that's being more effective than others, or is it kind of equally?
No, it's kind of all over, and I'm gonna knock on wood, and I'm gonna like probably jinx myself. I would have expected like our pre-K class to be affected the most because they can't even get vaccinations, right? And they've got nothing. But in every other grade, there's at least 1 or 2.
Okay,
So
thank you.
it's spread, it's spread all around. And like I said, we just can't necessarily like connect the dots or figure out like, okay, that's like a likely link when we do talk to everybody. So I wouldn't go so far to say that. Okay. Were there any other questions regarding anything else going on? I know it's like it's crazy because every morning I come in and there's always something.
In the last 7 days.
How are you contacting any close contact? Via phone, or do you guys call, or do
Yep,
you email?
I'm the caller. If there's close contacts, I'm typically the guy who calls parents and goes over that with them. I might from time to time, if there's like it's getting kind of crazy, Nicole in our office, who's been helping out with a lot of the record keeping and everything with me, or Miss I might call, but it generally will come from me. Yeah, so if you don't get a call, then you're not a close contact.
Do you call on the same day? Because when you get your, you send out those emails, do you typically call on the same day?
Yep, as soon as I find out, even if it's on a weekend, I'll call you. I'll try and get in contact with you. So if something comes through, I was monitoring my email all weekend. And there was some stuff on Saturday, and I took care of it. It's not unusual for all of us principal. We've been working like 7 days a week with all these different cases coming through. So if I see it, I'm going to take care of it right away. I'm not going to sit on it. Because you guys need to know, and you need to know like when to go get tested and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. Okay. Were there any other questions? Okay. Well, one last thing with that. I don't know if there's been some confusion about travel. So I'd just like to kind of clear that up. So if you travel out of state, right, you got to do safe travels in order to come back into the state. So if your child is not vaccinated, then they got to take the test in order to come back, right? But if they are, then they can go through safe travels, no problem. So let's go vaccinated first. So if they're vaccinated, they can get through safe travels, and they don't need to take another test once they reach Oahu to be able to return to school. All you need to do is show us your vaccination card, and you're good to go, as long as you got no symptoms, right? Put that caveat on there. If you're not vaccinated, you get through safe travels, then you also have to take a test before you return to school once you reach Oahu. Okay. Or then you're going to have to quarantine. I guess it's 5 days now instead of the 10 days, right? Which is a little bit better. If you're under 5, so like our pre-K kids, they cannot, they would just have to show their travel companion, their parents would have to show us their vaccination card and all that stuff. And that'll be what it is. Okay, but if anybody has any questions, anybody's traveling and they don't know or they need more clarification, they can call our office and we'll give them all the information. And it's important that, to be perfectly blunt, people got to be honest with us if they travel. Because when we ask the kids, like, oh, what did you do over winter break? And they go, oh, I went to Disneyland. And they're like, oh, nobody knew. And then the office got to call you, like, just be honest, like, oh, I forgot, or whatever. Just, it's for the protection of everybody. Yeah. We're not trying to like make you feel bad or whatever, but we're just trying to make sure everything is in order. So honesty is the best policy. And it's, we got to do this as a community or we're not going to get through it. Okay. The other thing is that we're not trying to make people feel bad, but if your child is like, has some symptoms, like they're falling asleep in class, we're going to call you to come down. And just so you know, there was a case like that where child was like super sleepy and like real lethargic. Parents had to come down. They didn't want to really take the kid out of class, but then the next day they were positive for COVID. So it's we're trying to be fall on the side of caution, not just to be a humbug for you because you got to leave work. We're really trying to just protect our entire school community as much as possible. And if that means that you got to come down and get your child, it's kind of for the good of everybody. So we'd appreciate it if, like I said, we're not trying to make anybody feel bad, but that's just kind of the way that we're approaching things. Okay, last thing, and then I gotta go, sorry, is I talked to Stanford, and right now is not really the best time, but we are in conjunction with the PTA working on developing some after-school classes for the kids. Kind of did a survey amongst the teachers to see what they would be interested in teaching, kind of like enrichment kind of stuff, fun stuff. Like in the past, we did like cooking, and I think we did magic and like book club. I think in the past we've done gardening, even typing, I think was a class that we offered. So hopefully soon we'll be able to push that out. I see it's on the agenda for new business, so Stanford can talk a little bit more about it. But just to put it out there that, COVID is tough. And we know we want to try and offer as much as we can to get back to like what Noelani is really all about, right? So those of you who haven't experienced all that we've done in the past, like craft fair, ice cream social, trunk or treat. We're trying our hardest, but we just keep getting whacked by this COVID thing, and it keeps, like, every time we build momentum, then we kind of get backslide. So hopefully, as we get through this one, we can kind of level out and start to offer a little bit more of this kind of stuff. So that is my report for this evening. So thank you guys very much. I appreciate
Thank you,
it.
Principal.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Okay. So I think just to kind of, I said, well, there's a lot of people on the call tonight, and either it's all about COVID or people are really interested in PTA tonight. So I think, as Brian mentioned, anybody can email him at any time and ask him questions. So please feel free to do so if you have any concerns. I want to move on to treasurer's report, but our treasurer actually is not feeling well tonight. So Stanford, I don't know if she sent you the banking account. She did.
She did. I'll share
Okay.
the.
Okay.
Let's see. Let me bring that up. Sorry. Okay. All right.
Okay. So I know we did have a bunch of expenses between December and then the first half of this month, and that was really related to craft fair. So I think the balance is, as the end of December, was the 245, 234.78. And we did talk offline about just moving some of the money from the checking to the savings. It's, it doesn't do anything different. But that's the balance as of December. Okay. So let's move on to some old business. And since we're, kind of on craft fair, I just want to, first of all, say thank you to everyone who participated, who shopped, who volunteered their time or their contacts, their services. I have to say it was another super challenging year. We sort of made the pivot again, and the totally virtual option with a lot of customization this year was definitely harder than I thought it was going to be. But I think it gave us a lot of new connections to new businesses, especially in the food service industry, which was really a nice feature this year. And it gave us a lot of options on what we can do with some of those partnerships moving forward. So I know Toby Tamae is on this call, so I definitely want to thank him for all of those food vendor referrals. Michelle Issa, I don't think she's on this call, but she really gave a lot of time to getting the website together. So thank you to them.
She's on the call.
And is she on the call? Thanks,
Yep.
Michelle. Because again, I think we were going back and forth and trying to get the website up to speed, but I think it worked out in the end. And just to put it out there, there is a special still running for Feast by John Matsubara. And it's a signature bento that he's offering. And the price is $40 with $4 going to Noelani PTA from each sale. So I had it last week and it was really good. It had a signature petite lobster roll, a slow braised Kamuela beef cheeks, a Yukon potato, which with the creme fraiche, which actually was super good, salad and special dressing. And it was a really nice selection and offering. But anyway, that's still up for sale. You can buy it on the Feast website. I think it's like Feast Manoa something .com. So if you look them up, though, they're easy to find. They're right on the corner of Laurie and East Manoa Road. And that's a really great opportunity for us. I think overall, I don't have the dollar figures. And I would say that probably the amount of effort that went into it may not show up on the dollar side, but I do think it was a great bridge. Oh, thanks. Toby just put the link in the chat, and we will attach a flyer. We'll post a flyer to our website and our social media. We'll try to get it out through the room parents as well. But I think, besides just the dollar amount that we raise, we really try to keep this idea of craft fair alive. A lot of people and a lot of crafters who I talked to at the end of last year said they did really well at Made in Hawaii, but it was sort of the in-person atmosphere that really got people shopping again. And so, I hope that, at the end of this year, when craft fair rolls around again, that you guys will be able to host an in-person event. Everyone's really looking forward to it, crafters and shoppers alike. And that's a great way to meet people as well within our Noelani community. So thank you again. Shout out to everyone. Really appreciate it. Again, the feast website is posted in the chat, and we will send out a flyer after this meeting. I do want to touch on an email that we sent out, I think earlier this month. Alexander and Baldwin has partnered up with a lot of public schools, and they're doing a program called Kukua for Keiki. And so with the shopping centers that they obviously own or manage, they are encouraging the community to participate back with them, and in kind, they will make a donation straight up to the school. So all we had to do was donate or just turn in one receipt, and they gave us $1,000. So, we're going to give a shout out to Alexander and Baldwin for that. And if we reach 100 receipts turned in, they will give us another $500. Not for doing anything different than we all normally do, because I think a lot of us shop at Long, Safeway, whatever. But if you get that receipt, we did send out the QR code. It was easy to take a photo of the receipt and just send it to A and B. I would encourage you guys to do so. And that is also posted to our website. Let's move on to Jogathon, and I'll turn it over to Stanford for that.
Thanks, Danny. So the most recent update for Jogathon is that it was tentatively pushed back. It was originally scheduled for the first week of February, which is a 4-day week. And just to recap, the kids are going to be participating within their own classroom during their scheduled PE time. So that actually was not a good week because one of the days is not there. So we're actually pushing it back one more week. I'm waiting to hear back from Beldin, who is helping us acquire some shirts for the event. So for those of you who are new parents, all the kids will get shirts for the Jogathon event, regardless of whether they raise money or not. Every single student will get a shirt, as well as every staff member at Noelani. This year, I decided to go with more of an athletic style material. And I'm still working on the design. So if anybody wants to help me with that, I'm just basically gonna try and go with something simple, and I'll share it with you now. Hold on. And it's going to look something like this tentatively. So real simple design, just Noelani athletics. So we want every child to feel like they are an athlete at Noelani. The part of the event is to encourage a healthy lifestyle and exercising. So we definitely want to try to push the athletic side of things. But I'm hoping to go with the athletic shirt just because I think it will get more life out of it. And hopefully the kids can feel like they can wear it anytime, and it'll be moisture wicking and whatnot. So that's sort of the update on the shirts. At some point, your child is gonna be bringing home a collection envelope, and the goal for this year's Jogathon is to raise $30,000 to help offset the cost for the program that we have at Noelani. And as Mr. Gusman has stated before, it's not like if we don't raise the money, we're going to get rid of the Mrs. Lam. That's not the case. She's going to be there. She does a wonderful job. It's just, if we can help offset the cost for her salary as well as operation of the PE, Noelani and Mr. Gusman can use those funds for other things, whatever he chooses. So the goal is $30,000, and we have roughly 400 students this year at the school. So we're going to be asking if each child can raise $75. We know that is a lot. We know that is, it's not a trivial number, but we're hoping that we can raise, this can be the first normal fundraiser since COVID started, because Danny thankfully has been doing a great job with craft fair, but that's not the normal craft fair that we at Noelani is used to seeing. So with Jogathon, we're kind of hoping that it's going to be more of a normal fundraiser, and hopefully the first fundraiser that we can hit our target goal, which was similar to years past. But again, the date of the Jogathon is the second week of February, but I'm waiting for Belden to get me a definitive date on when he can get the shirts in, because as we all know, there's some supply chain issues, and shirts are one of those things. But he's providing us a great price, so I want to thank him. And we actually have a fair number of teachers that are helping us with this year's event. Mr. Gusman would like to try to keep the amount of volunteers down to a minimum, if at all possible. So unfortunately, we're not going to have a whole lot of parents on campus, but I think all of you can agree that that's probably for the best. And not sure if we're going to be streaming any sort of an event either, because that's going to require a lot more manpower, and I don't think we can do that. But yeah, so that's it for Jogathon.
Thanks, Stanford. I see a question in the chat. So
Okay.
I don't, I've never heard that A+ cost is going up per month. So, we'll double check with Jeff, and we'll kind of, Melissa, we can let you know. But I've never heard that. It's been, $120 per month. No, I've never heard that it's going to 200. So I'll double check with Jeff Fukushima, but I'm pretty sure it's not going up by that much. Okay, but we'll double check it. We'll let everybody know. Thanks, Stanford, for the Jogathon update. To everybody on the call, thank you for being here and attending. This is actually really nice to see more people. Stop us at any time if there are any questions. We're just kind of plowing through the agenda today. Moving on to new business, I do want to talk about nominations for a second. Okay, so I'm a 5th grade parent. I'm on my way out the door. So is Allison Davidson. And Craig, I see on the call, Craig is actually moving to Alaska. He was going to be our treasurer next year, but he and his family have made a big decision, and they're going to relocate. And we don't have a nominations chairperson at the moment. I think that COVID has been really, really challenging to get to know people, to get people more involved in the PTA, and to kind of create the camaraderie that's been really good for a lot of us old timers now that have been at the school for a while. So I definitely encourage everyone on this call, or reach out to people that might be interested. But we have a lot of positions to fill and not a lot of time to fill it, right? We have 1 semester left before the end of the year, and I think it goes by rather quickly. So I would like to encourage people who are interested. Let us know, please. Email, any of us. Give a call to the office if you need to get to us, or anything else. Flag us down. I think we'd be happy to talk about it. I've been putting Stanford on the spot for a really long time, so I'm gonna keep putting him on the spot in this call, and I'm encouraging him to take over as president. And again, all joking aside, it's a really great opportunity to kind of be more in tune with the school, with the parents and the community. What can we do for each other? How can we support each other? Whether you're a member or not, I think the idea of our PTA is really to be a support to the school system and what Principal Gusman is trying to do for all of our kids. And so I think it's been a really nice opportunity. I definitely wasn't looking for this. This was kind of something that just happened. But I'm really grateful that I took it on. So I hope that helps a little bit and give some encouragement to those of you who might be on the fence about participating at more depth in the PTA. Going on to the after school enrichment, as Principal Gusman mentioned, we have had run this program in the past sporadically, and it really depends on teachers and their ability to participate after school. And obviously now with COVID, we're looking at clusters and how to organize topics that kids might be interested in within the clusters. And so we are working on the details. Stanford's been working on that with principal. And it looks like it wants to be about a 10-week program. There will be a nominal cost to it. And we, I think as a PTA exec committee, we were looking at opportunities for sort of a scholarship kind of offering, right? What can the PTA help offset in this case? In the past years where we have run after school curriculum or specialty classes, parents have paid out of pocket. And it's pretty nominal considering what we've been able to offer. I think we've had, besides Art Shop and Bricks for Kids, because those are run by sort of outside groups, and the book clubs and other things, we had hula, we had script like handwriting. We had, I think there was like a drama class once. So I Stanford, you can talk a little bit more about maybe when you can get this program.
Okay.
Out.
So real quick, what to add to what Daniel was saying, this is old document from the last time the after school program ran. So this is not what's going to be offered this semester. Mr. Gusman is still working with the teachers to figure out what we're going to offer. But to what Daniel was saying, this is kind of a sample. We had keyboard and cursive, we had art, we had robotics. So that I would probably imagine a lot of this would be, things that were going to be offered. But again, it's going to be taught by teachers. As far as I know, Ms. I and Mr. Gusman have stated that there's going to be a maximum of, and I'll stop this share, a maximum of 10 children per class. And the reason being is that you're going to be mixing kids from different, within the grade probably. And to make sure that everybody can maintain a large enough distance, as opposed to going to the, more of a 20 kids per class, they're going to just drop it down to 10 kids per class. So I think Danny and I and the exec board, we're trying to figure out how to get as many kids or give them the opportunity to take this as possible. So I'll pass it back to Danny.
Okay, thanks, Stanford. But more information to come shortly. So, I think a lot of times we're going to try to send some of that out through Principal Gusman as well as the room parents, just so that we get multiple opportunities to share the information. But be on the lookout.
Yeah, this one they're probably gonna, if it does start, and like Mr. Gusman said, now's not really the best time with Omicron going crazy, but he was looking at a start date of about mid-February, and as Daniel was saying, about 10 weeks. So that still gives them enough time to run the entire program. And the cost would be $100 per child for 10 classes, so $10 per class. All of that is going to be paid directly to the teacher that teaches the class. And PTA we're looking for ways to help families who, we know that $100 to some might not be a lot, but to others it is a lot. And the PTA we have an angel fund, or we have opportunities that maybe we can assist families that are in need. So we don't want anybody to feel like they can't send their child to one of these programs just because they can't afford the cost. Again, details to follow on all of that, but please be on the lookout.
Oh, Lisa Imai,
I
thank you
just
very
posted
much.
that, but I don't know if it would affect us differently since we run our own program. but I know we
Okay.
have to work with DOE to.
Oh, the new
to-
monthly fee will take effect in the 2022 to 23 school year. So it's not immediate if it happens, but we can double check with Jeff and just make sure. It's not right now. Sorry, maybe that's why I didn't see it. Okay, we'll double check on that for everybody. And we'll see, what the best venue is to send out the update. Probably Jeff will send it via email. Okay. Okay. Just a real quick conversation about PTA givebacks. I think at the end of last year, I told some of the board, I think I burnt out a lot. So I lost steam on like the HTY event, and I apologize. It's my fault. And the screenagers. But as we move into this second half of the year, we definitely want to make sure that the Noelani community knows that PTA is here for everyone. Again, while we encourage membership, because that's the way, we can get people to volunteer more so. And that's the way we continue on with our boards and our chairpersons. The givebacks are really for the entire community. And that's why we do the fundraising, right? It's not just fundraise to build up this massive account and then not do anything with it. So we really are looking for opportunities to give back to the school, and try to find some enjoyment that you can do with your family. Doesn't have to be right in the community itself, in person, but we can find a way to do this at home, as something that the PTA can give. So we'll be working on that and sending it out, but we definitely wanted to make sure that everybody knows. Again, we're not sitting on this money and just waiting for nothing to happen. We really want something to happen. We just need to find some bandwidth. I think in terms of, and that kind of segues into the budget discussion. I think separately, we need to have another meeting, and we'll probably put some feelers out there, invite people who want to discuss, what this PTA budget looks like, what we should do with it. I know Ryan Itoman, who is our finance chair, he wasn't able to join tonight. And we've had some good conversation, right? About $245,000 in a bank account to do what? Yes, it's been a rainy couple of years. Yes, it's good to have, kind of this rainy day fund, but how much is enough for a rainy day fund, and how much do we need to, should we be spending back on the school? And I think there's been a lot of budget, trade-offs. Mr. Gusman had requested some money, so we put in a budget for it, but then he realized he had too much on one end of his that he needed to spend out. So he doesn't need that first item anymore, but he could use a second item. So I think we're trying to just wrap our heads around all of these needs, see where the PTA can be helpful to the entire community, and sort of be a participant that way. And we'll definitely let everyone know what that turns out to be. But we want to advertise more what the PTA does, make sure that everyone is aware that we're not just a fundraising body, but we really are here to provide community support, activities, etc. And yes, it has not been a normal couple of years. So I, for one, am very sad that my last normal year was 2 years ago, and my daughter graduated, and she didn't even graduate under normal circumstances. So, it's been tough go at it for a lot of us. So thanks for hanging in there with the school. And I think with that, I will open it up to any other discussion that anyone has or wants to bring up today. If not, thank you for joining. We really appreciate your time tonight. And again, please join us again next month. And I hope it's not just to hear, Mr. Gusman's message, but really, we hope to have a lot more to share about these extracurricular activities and events that we want to provide for you. So thank you so much.
I have something, Danny, real quick. My daughter's room parent shared some information with our class. And for those of you who probably are reading the news, they're talking about how cloth masks are not as effective as these KN95s or N95s. But Real quick, I just wanted to share a couple of websites that she had sent us for children's masks that are of higher, supposedly higher quality. And basically, she threw it out to the entire class. You know, if anyone wanted to pair up and order in bulk, it drove the cost down. So I'm going to post that in the chat. So this is, again, the Trojan size mask. And I'm also going to put a website that I've ordered masks from for my family. And unfortunately, a lot of the masks are being sold out right now, but you know, you may want to talk to friends or others and see, because the cost of these masks can go from basically $1 per mask down to half the amount if you buy with enough bulk. So just throwing it out there for those of you who are interested. That's all I have, Danny.
Okay, thanks, Stanford. Any other questions, comments?
We have something from our room parent
Oh,
liaison.
hey, Steph. Hey, Steph.
Hi, I was just throwing a shout out to one of our student teachers that I work with who's in attendance at the meeting tonight. I think it's wonderful that she's taking, the time to get to know what our PTA does here. Miss Hikielani Guzman is here, and she works with Miss Ho this semester, or she'll be there for the rest of this year. And there's a few other student teachers as well, but they're not able to come tonight. So just wanted to have everybody welcome her to our meeting this evening.
Thank you for joining, Ms. Guzman. Appreciate your time for sure. And thank you for your service to Noelani. Thanks, Steph, for the shout out. Okay. Anyone else?
Or maybe you could introduce Steph, because we have a lot of new parents.
Oh, well, I'll let Steph introduce her lovely self. Go ahead, Steph.
Hi, everyone. I wasn't planning on turning my camera on. I was in the middle of cooking and listening and everything, but my name is Stephanie Bulow. I'm a 5th grade parent, and I'm also our Noelani room parent liaison this year, which is a new role that we have created, I guess. So it's kind of a new thing. Basically, I'm a room parent, but then also communication from the PTA. I try to help get it out to all the room parents and make it in a very easy format for them to be able to send out to their families as well. So nice to see you all this evening.
Thanks, Steph.
Thank you, Steph.
Steph is one of the first friends I made making spam musubi at Noelani Craft Fair. So that goes to show you how far the craft fair can take you. And we've been friends since kindergarten. So anyone else? If not, thank you again for attending. And if Stanford and Ali can stay on for a second, that'd be great. Oh, actually, Lorelei and Steph, if you can stay on as well, that'd be very cool for just a few minutes. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.